How's your pinky strength? You know the old joke, what's this? It's a microwave. My pinky isn't as strong as my other fingers. I didn't work it out as much when I was a kid, and I found ways to get around the fretboard without using it. Perhaps if I hadn't been as resourceful / lazy, it would be as long as my ring finger like a lot of fiddle players. But we are where we are, and this video is going to show you ways to get up to the high B on fret 7 using your pinky, but minimizing that stretch, because sometimes that's just too much. So we're going to use a tune called Cronin's Hornpipe, very, very well-known tune. It spends a lot of time up on that high B note, that fret 7 on the E string, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how to move your hand up and down to be flexible with your position on the fretboard so that you can get up to those high Bs with comfort and minimize that enormous stretch. Absolutely, the ideal scenario is that you get a tiny little dumbbell and you work it out, or maybe like a rack like they used to use in medieval times. Stretch that pinky. If you have a great pinky, great little finger, and you're able to get up to those high Bs without any problem, then you can focus on all of the cool stuff, which we're going to talk about: ornamentation, triplets, chords, all that good stuff. But for folks like me that still struggle to get up there, we're going to talk about that in detail. Welcome to the channel. My name is Enda Scahill. I'm an Irish tenor banjo player and I live in Galway. As always, I have full transcriptions, all of the notation in tab and stave and ABCs. I use a website called Sound Slice, which is the very best learning tool on the internet, and it's all accessible through my Patreon. The link is in the description. And that's enough about that. Cronin's a very simple, popular hornpipe. It's in the key of G. If you want to learn the simple tune, shoot to the end of this video. You'll see it bookmarked. Let's jump in to the fingering. This is how the tune goes. Okay, so it goes straight up to the high B. Now, as I played it right there, and you will have seen it, that's using what we would call standard 3-finger method, stretching the pinky to the high B up to that fret 7, and it's kind of rolling around that ring finger. That's just never been really comfortable for me. So very simply, what I do every time is I use my index finger, which normally I would reserve for fret 2 and maybe fret 1, and I pop that straight up onto the G note, which is fret 3 on the E string. So in effect, it's a positional change. So if this is my, we'll say position 1, my starting position, which is ring finger on fret 5, middle finger that covers fret 3 and fret 4, index finger that covers fret 1 and fret 2. Now this is the way that I play. Okay, it's the way that I learned. It's like mandolin fingering or fiddle, violin fingering. To switch the position is literally just moving the hand, the entire hand, up a little bit. So suddenly my middle finger is playing all the notes on fret 5. Now, then you can either use your ring finger for fret 7 or your pinky. Basically what it means for me is that the stretch from my middle finger to my pinky, that's quite comfortable. But for me, or whatever, maybe it's just the way my fingers are, my ring finger to my pinky, that's just not as comfortable. So I like to stretch either middle finger to pinky or middle to 4. Just to give you that little bar again. Switch. And so you get to an open E note, and that's the time that you switch back. Okay, so just watch that again. Open E note switch. Switch. So the positional movement of the hand up and down the fretboard, it's just moving really by one fret, so one positional change. There's an open E in this tune that makes it very comfortable to do it. Let's have a look at the second part. It starts in the key of D. Again, there's an open E when we make the switch. Now, there's a little bit of a slide that's needed here. So after the initial positional switch, we have an open E, but then we have an F sharp and then a G. And this run of notes goes right up to the high B. Okay, so again, if you have a really good spread in your fingers and you can do this, I'm jealous. Okay, what I do in this instance is I play the open E, then I play the F sharp, fret 2 with my index, and then I slide, I make the positional change as we slide from F sharp to G. And then coming back down, the positional change happens on the way down in the second part with a crab walk. So we're going pinky to 2, ring to middle. Can you see where the positional switch happens? So just to reiterate, we're switching position from this to this. So it's and the entire hand moves, and it's only one fret. So that is how I get around the high B issue in this tune. And it's a very easy tune to make the switches. A, because it's a hornpipe and it's a little bit slower than a reel or a jig, for instance, but also the way that the melody moves, there are notes like open E's that allow the positional switch to happen. That isn't the case with all tunes, and I will try and do a video on a tune that is really hard to play with a high B, just so that you can see it. Something like Jenny's Chickens, which is almost impossible to play on a tenor banjo with any level of satisfaction. Now that we have the fingering figured out, let's enjoy the tune. So here it is, with hornpipe rhythm, with right hand ornamentation. Just going to stick with the triplets that are coming out of the right hand. So here goes, Cronin's hornpipe. We're going to add to the ornamentation by using some of 3-note triplets. So using little run up and run down triplets on the left hand. We talked about the positional change in that second part coming down in a crab walk. But what happens when we do a series of triplets coming down? It's two triplets back to back, and the positional change happens in the second triplet. So for me, I'm using pinky, middle, and index. And then the switch happens when I use my ring finger for the start of the second triplet. So instead of the crab walk, we have two triplets, and the positional switch happens at the start of the second one. Hope that makes sense. Here's a round of the tune with a little bit of everything. Going to use some double stop chords, 3-note triplets, right hand ornamentation, the whole lot. Cronin's Hornpipe. I hope you enjoyed this short lesson on left-hand fingering and Cronin's Hornpipe. As always, over on Patreon, all of the notation and transcription is available, as well as backing tracks for this lovely hornpipe. Always appreciate a comment, a like, and a subscribe. It helps the algorithm show these videos to people who may be interested in Irish tenor banjo. Here is the simple melody of the tune for you to learn.